Have you ever noticed something strange? The people who are most successful at moving on after a breakup are often the same people who end up being missed the most. Not because they begged. Not because they posted emotional messages online. Not because they tried to make their ex jealous. But because they did something far more powerful. They chose themselves. And in doing so, they became impossible to forget. If someone has walked away from your life, your first instinct may be to hold on tighter. To send one more message. To explain yourself one more time. To remind them what they're losing. But that's almost never what works. In fact, the more you chase, the easier you become to take for granted. Today, I want to show you 5 powerful shifts that can completely change what happens after someone leaves. Not because your goal should be getting them back, but because your goal should be becoming someone who never needs to chase anyone again. Let's begin. Number 1, embrace silence. This is the hardest step for most people. When someone leaves, every part of you wants to reach out. You want answers. You want closure. You want one more conversation. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. No messages. No calls. No checking their social media. No finding excuses to stay connected. Just silence. Not as a game. Not as a strategy. As a decision to reclaim your energy. Here's why this matters. When someone becomes accustomed to your constant presence, they stop noticing it. Your attention becomes expected. Your availability becomes normal. But when that presence disappears completely, something changes. The silence becomes noticeable. The absence becomes real. And for the first time, they experience life without access to you. Whether they miss you or not is no longer your concern. Because the purpose of silence isn't to affect them. The purpose is to give yourself room to heal. And healing begins when you stop reopening the wound every day. Number 2, stop making them the center of every conversation. This is where many people get stuck. They stop contacting their ex. But mentally, they never leave. Every conversation somehow circles back to them. Every story includes them. Every day is spent analyzing what happened. The problem with this is simple. The more you talk about someone, the more space they continue occupying in your life. You keep reliving the same chapter instead of starting a new one. Strong people understand something important. Not every story deserves endless discussion. Sometimes the healthiest response is simply, "I'm focusing on moving forward, that's it." No long explanations. No dramatic speeches. No endless analysis. The less attention you give the past, the more energy you have for your future. And eventually people notice. You stop looking like someone who was abandoned. You start looking like someone who is building a new life. Number 3, become the version of yourself you've always wanted to be. This is where real transformation begins. Not because you're trying to prove something. Not because you're trying to make someone jealous. Because you finally have the opportunity to invest in yourself. Think about all the energy people spend after a breakup. The sadness. The overthinking. The wondering. The waiting. Now imagine redirecting that energy toward your health. Your goals. Your confidence. Your friendships. Your future. Imagine becoming stronger physically. More confident mentally. More fulfilled emotionally. Imagine finally pursuing the things you've been postponing. Learning new skills. Traveling. Creating. Growing. Healing. When you focus on becoming better, something remarkable happens. Your entire energy changes. People notice it. Friends notice it. Family notices it. And yes, sometimes the person who left notices it too. But by then, something important has happened. Your happiness is no longer dependent on their attention. And that's where true freedom begins. Number 4, don't mistake curiosity for commitment. At some point, something interesting often happens. A message appears. A reaction to a story. A random hey, a casual check-in. Suddenly the person who disappeared seems interested again. And this is where many people lose all the progress they've made. Because they confuse attention with intention. They assume a simple message means someone has changed. But attention is easy. Effort is rare. A late-night text requires almost nothing. A real apology requires courage. A genuine conversation requires accountability. A healthy relationship requires consistency. Never confuse breadcrumbs with commitment. If someone truly wants to rebuild a connection, they'll do more than send a vague message. They'll show up with honesty, clarity, effort. Until then, stay focused on your own life. Don't abandon your progress because someone briefly reminded you they exist. Number 5, build a life you genuinely love. This is the most important step of all. And it's also the one people often overlook. The goal isn't making someone regret losing you. The goal is creating a life so meaningful that their decision no longer defines your happiness. Think about that for a moment. Imagine waking up excited about your future, excited about your goals, excited about your growth. Not because someone came back, because you finally discovered your own value. That's real power. When you're no longer waiting for validation. When you're no longer measuring your worth through someone else's choices. When you realize your life was never dependent on one person's presence. That's when everything changes. You stop trying to win people back. You start winning your life back. And ironically, that's often the moment people begin noticing what they lost. Because confidence is attractive. Peace is attractive. Purpose is attractive. A person who genuinely enjoys their life carries a kind of energy that can't be faked. But here's the truth most people never hear. The greatest outcome isn't that they come back. The greatest outcome is that you become someone who doesn't need them to. Because while you're growing, healing, and building a life you're proud of, you discover something unexpected. You become stronger than you were before. Happier than you were before. More confident than you were before. And whether they regret leaving or not suddenly becomes irrelevant. Because you've already won. You've chosen yourself. So here's my challenge for you. Don't focus on what they're doing today. Don't focus on whether they're watching your stories. Don't focus on whether they'll come back. Focus on one thing: what can you do today that makes your future self proud? Maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's starting a project. Maybe it's reconnecting with friends. Maybe it's simply deciding not to check their profile again. Whatever it is, start there. Then do it again tomorrow. And the day after that. One small step at a time. Because the person you're becoming is far more important than the person who walked away. Thank you for watching. And if this message resonated with you, let me know which step you're going to focus on first. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next video.